I'm Kate Warren, and I'm a professional photographer in Washington, D.C. My areas of focus are on style, editorial portraiture, and social reportage. So I was called into a meeting with the photo editor of the style section. So they're taking this opportunity to bring in someone younger and who is plugged into a more diverse set of social activities. And because traditionally it's like, okay, benefits, galas, political dinners, this the more traditional idea of Washington society. Part of that reinvigoration is just the fact that my friends are the kind of people who plan like underground rock shows and have DIY art spaces and are involved in startups and are doing things that are very much outside the more traditional society purview of the column. When I graduated, I wanted to go into consulting because I went to school for business. I was doing policy analysis for like pharmaceutical companies or large hospitals, and so I found that very drawing. I was moonlighting. I started GoK Shoot as a blog, as a style photography blog, and it quickly became pretty popular. And at that time, that's when I started shooting for the Corcoran as their house photographer, when I had that other job. And that's when I started my column for Washingtonian, What I Wear to Work, which was my first column. I was working 65 hours a week at a white-collar job, and then I would leave the office at 6:37 at night and go on 2 shoots, come home, edit until 2 o'clock in the morning, get up at 7, go to work every day. And it's obviously exhausting, but a really good test in time management and creativity, because if you only have a certain pocket of time, you better make it bang when you can. And so I left that job after a year, in large part because of photo. And I was going to shoot full time, but Uber headhunted me. They're like, hey, we see how you've grown your brand and you're really awesome at social. We would love to hire you as a community manager, but you have to go GoK. I was like, ugh. And I was not brave enough to just do my own thing at that point in time. And so I took the job. I got fired from Uber, and it was sink or swim. And I made the decision to swim. And I took ownership against all the pressures from like rent is due and family expectations and all of that. And that against all of those things, I was like, no, this is this thing that I love to do. And people have been telling me for a long time that I'm good at it. So I'm going to really try and do it. My parents have been very supportive. I had to spin it to them as me owning my own business and not I'm an artist, because they are more traditional. But it's nice to be able to send them a copy of the post and be like, look, Mom, my picture's right here. And then to them that makes more sense. In my day-to-day, my Norgay is my partner Martin Swift, the painter. He has a very formal, kind of more traditional art training and background. He's extremely brilliant. He's extremely kind and extremely generous with feedback. Martin and I watch a lot of old films. That's fodder for in terms of stylistically for both of us. Look how this, you look how women posed in the early 60s. And these women were very in tune with how their bodies looked on camera. I have to sit there and study, okay, this is how our legs are, and our arms, and our chin is tilted just this way. And so constantly looking for fresh sources of inspiration, because I had never tried to do the full-time photo thing. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna give it a shot. I had some money in savings, so I was like, all right, it's go time. This image is a photo that I took during a riot in Paris. And we came up out of the metro after the ballet with our cameras and walked directly into a riot. We were shooting and it was growing increasingly violent, and I got the crap beat out of me by the riot police while taking this photograph. So this is, I was standing right next to the gentleman who was who was lighting a flare, and it exploded while he was holding it. This is the perfect epitome of grabbing a moment when it happens. I'm only 24, so I can continue to push the envelope in terms of content and style. Being brave is hard, and people struggle with that all the time. You need to think bigger. You need to look over the mountain. And so just like my favorite photo is the next one that I take, my mantra is to look over the mountain. Focus on continuing to move forward and evolve your work and to be a better person and to challenge yourself and to scare yourself. And I think that's really important.